Thank you very much and welcome to the Playhouse. My name is Neil Foster and I'm your host for the next hour or so. We'll see how it goes. The actor you're about to meet is here today and giving his time free to help me raise money for a production of The Seagull, which I hope to launch from the Birmingham Repertory Theatre next year before bringing it here to London. There is very little money in the arts at the moment for various reasons, and so one is having to find original ways of raising that money to put on shows, and I'm just hope that the next hour is going to prove an enjoyable way for you to help me do that. I'm going to start this morning by chatting with our guest and then later on open it up to you, so please have your questions at the ready. There are few actors in the West End or in the world, I think, for whom the public have such an affection as today's guest. And I think seldom has that affection been so well deserved. Will you please give your warmest welcome to my guest, Mr. Jack Lemmon. Have this.
Thank you.
You've said, and I know it's difficult to throw things at you because you probably don't remember that you've said this, but that actors have an opportunity, a rare opportunity, to perform in plays or in films or stage that can make people think differently about things, that can change people's views and perspective. What do you think's been the most important part that you've played in that respect, in your opinion?
I don't think there's one. I'll tell you why. Because there's been two or three, just pursuing that particular point, that have all touched on different things. There is one common thread, and that is priorities. What is truly important from an ethical or a moral point of view, a social, a political point of view, but it comes down to priorities as to what is truly important. I think the films that have had what I like to think is the icing on the cake, in other words, that can hold their own as a dramatic or a comedic entity, so that you're not paying money for a pamphlet, and it's not a documentary. It's supposed to entertain on some level, but can also make you think where you might not have thought had you not seen this particular performance or this piece. China Syndrome and Missing and probably Save the Tiger all touched on slightly different things, but the one common thread was priorities, you know. But I wouldn't pick one over the other necessarily. I think that basically outright politically, Missing had to do with treatment of a government, of its people. What is more important, the individual rights of the person or a governmental policy which sacrifices the individual right of a person to an extent as an American. In Save the Tiger, it came down to the morals, the mores of the misuse of the American dream, as I would put it, that a self-made man, you know, can go out, but he ends up ultimately realizing that in his life he has made everything that is concrete more important, and money had become the most important thing in the world, and without it he was empty. So he's willing to finally go ahead, collect insurance by committing arson or having someone commit it for him. And knowingly, he realized where he missed the boat, but it was too late. That was it.
And do you look for parts like that now? Especially when you've got more control.
I do, but I don't say I've got to find one, you know, or I can't do it. If someone came along with another Some Like It Hot or an Odd Couple or whatever, a comedy, terrific, great, I love it. There's no pretensions that it goes beyond good theatrical or cinematic worth, you know, as a piece to be enjoyed, and a part that I would love to play. But when it does happen, and when I can find them, as I said, it's the icing on the cake. I think it's wonderful. As long as they will hold up, because I felt all three of those that I mentioned would stand on their own if there was not a point of view. The interesting thing that gets me is would I, and I haven't come across it yet, would I find a script in which I thought it was beautifully written, and a wonderful part that I really wanted to play, aspects of which I felt I hadn't played before, whatever it is that attracts an actor, and those certainly are some of the ingredients. Would I do it if I disagreed, definitely, with the point of view politically it had? Because I suppose from a pure point of view as an actor, I should say, no, it's not, you are an actor, you're getting up, you may not agree at all, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. I don't know whether I would.
Have you ever played a part that the experiences of the character you played have made you think differently about things?
Yes, definitely, and that's why I think there's great worth. And all three, in China Syndrome and that reinforced feelings that I have always had, because I am very anti-nuke in the sense of trying to use something for power in so-called advancement that I don't think we know enough of. And I think in general, what we call an advanced age, I think from the turn of the century on, we've gone backwards, as far as I'm concerned. We're going back to the caveman. We'll ruin the whole damned earth before we make it better.
Do you think that before you did the film? Or did that reinforce
No, it reinforced it. I had already made at least 4 different documents. I'm an ecological nut. The main thing where I have involved myself, or the use of my own name, has not been political as much as it has been on behalf of ecology. It's just been a thing with me.
Since when?
Oh, God. Well, it really started primarily when my son, who's now, 34, when he was born, and I brought him home in Los Angeles from the hospital. And it was a particularly smoggy day at that point. Well, it was nothing compared to what it is now on a smoggy day. But I thought, my God, this kid is on a carton of cigarettes a day, and look who's talking. He's on a carton of cigarettes a day, and he's about a week old, you know. And I began to think about it more. And it just sort of mushroomed from then on, and God knows with great understanding, because it just is every year we discover more and more what we are doing to this planet, to our home, which I think is disastrous, very suicidal. But now, how did I start? Where was I back?
I was talking about changing you, your
yes,
ideas.
And in changing me, yes. And certainly in Missing opened my eyes a lot more. I think that we have a tendency, probably in all of our various governments, to just accept what we read on the front page of the papers, you know, of this and that, or what we are told on the telly as this is how the government is working. This is not necessarily true at all, you know. In America, politics has become now, I mean, one is totally jaded. We're practically reaching the point where we figure that the only way a person in politics is going to get somewhere is to continually keep rationalizing and giving in to this faction, to that faction, or whatever. To just run for a small office takes millions and millions of dollars. Where are they coming from, except from supporters who expect something back? When I was a kid, I used to think that to be in politics was rather idealistic. My God, it's idealistic today if you really want to be pure, let's say. You know, it's become a very, very complex, overly complex miasma of red tape and constant giving, you know, seeding this and seeding that, in order to attain the office in which you're supposed to be representing all the people to the best of your ability and for the greatest well-being of the most people. And I don't think that happens very often.
And you've never wanted to get involved in it?